meaning everything is organized. Yeah, when you think of clutter, you're thinking of just the physical area around you, your home, your office, and whatnot. But my guest today on Make It Click, Kitti Andrews. Thank you so much, Kitti, for being here. Kitti is an expert in this area, not only the physical clutter, but the mental clutter. What is it doing to us mentally to have the clutter around us? And Kitti, I would love to start though with clutter, the aspect in itself of understanding it fully, because I'm thinking that some people are there's they think they're fine, that they don't have clutter in their life and everything's good. So let's start in with that. What does it really mean to have clutter in your life?
Well, clutter, and thank you for having me, Christine, by the way. And, we've known each other for so long that this is just like a conversation between old friends.
Mhm.
So thank you, and good for you for having this show. You're providing a wonderful service.
Thank you.
Now, clutter is, I have discovered over my 4 years of helping people to get their current surroundings under control, is that actually it's 20 years, but 4 years virtually of doing this. I've discovered that once they start to clear away their physical clutter, magically the other four pillars of their life starts to emerge, and they start to notice the quote clutter in those lives. Say for example, their relationship, they start to notice things about their partner or what their partner does that they never noticed before, or their health. They're noticing, I wonder if I really should be eating the Doritos for breakfast. I Josh, but but you know what I mean. So you've got your heart, your health, your habits. I wonder. Yeah, do you see the words "I wonder" happening here? Things are emerging that they're starting to think about, like, yeah, I've been meaning to exercise a little bit more, but maybe I should get a little bit more serious about it. And the final pillar, that being the head, hence declutter the brain, where you're thinking, why am I always so tired? Why do I feel like I'm running on a hamster wheel, is the word I'm looking for. That I'm running. And of course, entrepreneurs, which we serve, what do? We're busy. We're juggling too many plates as it is. What can we do to declutter all five pillars of our lives so that we're not waking up that old song, I'm tired of waking up tired. Yeah. I was just thinking of that song this afternoon. That's why it's top of mind. So if you start to declutter one, then like dominoes, the others will start to follow suit. And I've been traversing this journey with myself and of course my clients, and I've been learning through them how this works, how the domino effect works when it comes to clutter.
Hmm. So clutter though, where we start though is that the physical space. Is that correct? We start with the clutter starts there, and then as you're clearing that out, it moves into the other areas that you mentioned. Is that?
I firmly believe, actually, yes and no. I firmly believe that physical clutter is one manifestation of mental clutter, and I'll use myself as an example if you don't mind. But usually, on right now it's Christmas, so things are all over the place. Okay, yes, it's after Christmas for most of you. I have Ukrainian Christmas coming up. Um, but usually Monday, everything is together, organized, kitchen counter is clear, and then by Wednesday, things start to be building up a little bit, and I'm not feeling as lemony fresh as I could. So I give it a quick tidy on Wednesday night. Thursday and Friday, I am raring to go with no problem. So what am I trying to say with this? Is that many times, if you're feeling frazzled is not the right word, but if you're just feeling mentally full, then full cluttered, then the clutter can transfer over into the physical. And the physical, if you do have a lot of physical clutter, it causes distractions, which of course adds to your mental clutter. And it's a real chicken and egg syndrome. And I've asked people, and no one has really found the definitive answer.
Well, yeah, as I'm listening to you and thinking, as business owners, all of the things that we juggle and all the different hats that we wear without even touching a piece of paper, the mind can get really cluttered, and
Mhm.
then that can transfer into the surroundings. So that's very interesting how you mentioned that because I'm thinking, yeah, I don't even have to touch a piece of paper, and already the clutter is happening. It's like,
That's right.
wow.
That's right. And of course, we have the digital age now, which COVID threw us in. If we weren't in it before, COVID threw it no, threw us into it big time. So your emails have doubled. Your demands on your digital attention have possibly tripled. And if you're not born with a computer in your life, in your mouth, I should say, the silver spoon. Okay, well, you've got a laptop. Then it's CSL, I call it, computer as a second language. So we're constantly translating and translating. Uh, okay, yes, I have to do this email. All right, I've got to sign
Mhm.
up for Restream. What is Restream? Yeah, and again, more clutter.
Yeah.
Welcome to the digital age.
Well, and that's why I am a proponent of scheduling, blocking time out. If something comes up and it's not on the schedule, don't let it hinder what you were gonna do, unless it's absolutely necessary, of
That's right.
course. But when I'm working with clients and they're hesitant to do that, to maintain a schedule, stick to it,
Mm,
their business doesn't move forward.
that's
They
right.
let too much, intervene, and therefore then nothing happens. Nothing gets
Mhm.
done.
And that will happen the most when you are tired and your reptile brain, that I know you know this, your reptile brain takes over. Even this morning, I was working diligently, very, very well, thank you very much, on a computer project. And then I just got tired and I saw myself, oh, I should check that message. I wonder what this person is doing. Right. And I said, no, don't do this. Just walk away. Go for a walk up and down the stairs. Do anything, but you are going to go down a rabbit hole and you won't complete the project that you were supposed to be completing today.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, right. So Kitty, so we got the mental, we got the physical, we got all these different aspects and everything. How does someone begin to bring some order, to their business, to their lives, without enduring more overwhelm?
Yes. Now that depends. There's a basic process that I follow. Um, and it's applicable to, again, all five pillars. But I find that the more you simplify, and I know you'll agree with me on this, Christine, that less is more. And
Mhm.
I'll go with the physical for now, because everybody, that's, they want to know about that. The mental will come. But if you niche it down to one thing, and that comes, my system, the one system, comes from the was named after a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. uh, and it's basically one room at a time, one area of that room at a time, and one thing at a time, that, and so that you are focused on, you don't get, example, you don't start in your office and then you're getting bored, so I'll go and declutter the spare room. Now, I can do that because I've been doing that and doing this for years. But if you're just starting out and you're overwhelmed with your clutter, you want to just choose one thing, one room, and stick with it. And please don't take the biggest room in the house, the basement with 30 years worth of Christmas decorations. Don't do that to yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot, ladies and gentlemen. Am I right? Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then once you've chosen that one room, then pick one area of that room at a time rather than, no, that corner, maybe I'll start. I don't know. Well, I was thinking about my desk and cheese, I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. And then one thing at a time. And Christine, is it tedious? Yes. Is it time consuming? I'm afraid so. But is it also, you want to stay decluttered for life? It is the one way that you will stay decluttered for life. Can I tell you how or why?
Please do.
All right. Um, Good example. My very first client. You and I went to business school with her. She had an L-shaped desk and it was a big desk with about 6 inches of paper all around it. And this was what she wanted to declutter, make her optimize her office, if you will. And I said, okay, all right, we'll start with the desk. I now start with the floor, but in this particular time, we started with her desk, and I said, okay, well, let's take the first piece of paper. And she looks at me and she said, "You're out of your tree. There's no way." And my first client, do I have a plan B? This is the only way I know how to do this. Okay. So she said, okay, we'll give it a whirl for a few minutes. And she went through one piece of paper and she's grousing and saying, this is going to take forever. And then she starts going through it faster and faster and saying, I don't need this. I don't need this. Why do I have bank statements? I don't need them. My tax man doesn't need them, and I can get them online if I need. I'm unsubscribing for data from these bank statements. Okay, so there's some clutter that's not going to come in again. So you get the idea with this. Now here's where the magic happens. Is she threw out 6 or 8 trade magazines, and oh geez, they're about a year. 6 months was out of date for a trade magazine for her. So she dutifully throws them away. And then she reported a couple of weeks later, she said, I was in the store and my hand automatically reached for that magazine. And I just said to myself, I just threw out 6 or 8 of those at the tune of $8 a pop. And she didn't buy the magazine. One less thing of clutter coming in. It retrains your brain, Christine, so that you develop new habits that replace the old ones, and that is how you eventually. Does it happen overnight? No, it doesn't. It takes time, but eventually you are on your way to being clutter-free for life.
Now, when you mentioned to start slowly, pick a room, pick a corner, do you recommend, if at all possible, that someone find a friend or a family member or someone to help them go through things versus trying to do it alone?
Yes and no again. I often say that if you're overwhelmed, and I've seen this in practice, I've had clients bring their in between our sessions, they'll bring a trust, in this case, in that particular case, a family member, in to help, and certainly it can go a lot more quickly. Just think twice and choose once the person that you're going to have help you, because many times your helper can be well-meaning but judgmental. And what are you keeping all this stuff for anyway? And you end up wanting to crawl into a corner and say, well, I guess this was a bad idea. and your confidence goes down the tube. So just make sure that it is someone that you have felt support from the past, that you have felt uh, like they put you on a pedestal and they're there to help you, and they'll take, even if they just take away the discards. That's a help. That's a huge help right there. So the answer is yes, but just be careful who you choose.
Yeah. Well, I asked that because I was just imagining, well, I know how I am when I start going through the real personal stuff,
Hmm.
from your kids growing up, or from mom and dad, or ridiculous things. And you can go down a rabbit hole. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and granted, maybe it's stuff to keep, but you can spend a lot of time just perusing over that stuff instead of just making those decisions, I think.
And having somebody with you will help you focus better, because and especially if you offer to pay them a little bit of money, well, then you start to think, this extra 5 minutes of reminiscing over this photo is costing me X amount of is costing me $2 times what, times. So you could use that little trick on yourself. But the benefit of having somebody with you is that they keep you on track, and keep if they're doing it right, they'll say, okay, well, that was wonderful. I listened for a few minutes to what you had to say. What's next?
Mhm.
Or they can suggest, say, for example, you're moving out in 2 months, you're relocating, so you're on a timeline. Then they can say, why don't we break? And after 45 minutes, they can say, why don't we break for coffee for 15 minutes and come back to it with fresh eyes, which I also suggest very strongly, that you keep your sessions short. But there are advantages to having people there. And you may just choose to, I wouldn't get my neighbor, for example, to help me go through my father's very personal things. But if it comes to, say, for example, ripping the confidential stuff off bank statements and putting the rest in the recycle, he can do that. And that's one less thing for me to do. So I can focus my mental energy
Mhm.
on the important stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't think we give enough credit to that mental energy and what's going on, with the clutter and how it's really affecting us. And I know before we got on this episode, we were talking briefly about not beating ourselves up.
Mhm.
And I think we have to remember that too. It's taken a long time to build the clutter, so if it
Yes.
takes time to clear it, we're okay.
That's
You know.
that's right. It didn't accumulate overnight. It will not go away overnight unless your magic wand is better than mine. And just say it's going to take time. But here's the thing, Christine: most entrepreneurs are by definition overachievers. And what do we want? We want it done yesterday. Yes, we do. Well, cool your jets, Bucko, and every
Mhm.
step forward is a step forward. I know that sounds banal, but it's simple is good. Every step forward is, at the end of the day, is further than where you were. And that's
Mhm.
what you have to look at in all areas of your life.
Right. Well, this has been such great information, Kitty. Do you have something that you'd like to share with our audience?
I do. It's called Seven Easy Steps to Conquer Your Physical and Mental Clutter, and it's timeless. It really is. There it is. It's basically a grounding tool for your declutter journey and beyond, and it really is 7 steps meant to be followed in order. And it comes with short little videos, so 3 minutes, so you don't feel alone in the process. But the point of it is, when you follow the steps in succession, And the very last step, for example, is about maintaining it after you've done your decluttering. Then you will have success, and you can get that at my at declutterthebrain.com/declutter. Or if that's too long to remember, just go to www.declutterthebrain.com, and it's there waiting for you.
Well, that sounds amazing, Kitti. I hope our listeners do take you up on that. I do have one last question for you, and it's not something I asked prior. This is more about your business. Again, like you said, we've known each other for so many years. We've
Mhm.
both come a long way. When you think about growing your business, is there something that comes to mind that you say, wow, that's what made a difference for me? That's what made it click and started the forward motion for what you're doing?
Yes, and I didn't see that question coming, but I have an answer for it, and that is, and I think you're going to agree with me. I think this will resonate with you, Christine. Is listening to your customers, listening to your clients, and getting their feedback, because sometimes what we think they want isn't really what they want. I am here to tell you that over the last 4 years, my clients have taught me about decluttering. I know the how and the I don't know how to put this. I certainly know the structure and the steps and all of this kind of stuff. But your clients will teach you why. They'll teach you the why of why they need the service, why they need your service or my service. And if you really listen to them, then that will improve your service. Say, for example, with how you help people, you've done that by, I would assume, by listening to what they need.
Mhm.
And I think that is the thing that has really made it click for me over over the last year. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, Kitti. And you're right. I do totally agree with that. Kitti, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for being my guest today on Make It Click.
Thank you very much, Christine.